Welcome to the DIY3DTech.com channel.
Welcome to this edition of DIY3DTech.com. In this episode, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be calibrating the new Da Vinci printer. So I want to spend a minute or two talking about what does this mean and why should we do this. So basically what calibrating the printer does is levels out or tams the print bed area of the printer, and we'll take a look at that in a minute. So I wanted to show you the menu first. So it's under the utility menu, so if I get my fat fingers out of the way. When you hit the home button, so you're at home, you then click OK for utilities, and I think this is capturing it on it. Then what you have to do is you have to press the down arrow button over here until you come to calibrate. Then once you're on calibrate, you click OK, and then it says calibrate, are you sure? Yes. Then you move that down, and then what will happen is your extruder and platform will heat up to temperature. Now you'll have to wait for this, and obviously it takes a few minutes to heat up, because what happens is obviously as the extruder and the print platform warm up, they contort somewhat, obviously because of the temperature. So you want it at that, and unfortunately this is one of the downfalls of this, is every time you go through this process, it will have to heat up and you'll have to wait, which is really a pain. So I'm going to cut over and I'm going to show you the print bed as this heats up. Okay, so here we are looking inside the printer. So one of the things I want to call out are three things. So you notice this pad back here, this pad, and this pad. So these are the alignment pads. There's a metal one back here too. So you'll notice that there's wires attaching these, and then basically what happens is metal straps around the sides, and so they're grounded. And so what will happen is the printhead will come in, since the printhead is metal, it will come and touch off of these. I think it actually only does 3. I don't think it'll do all 4. At least on my Duo, it only does 3 to give a position in XY space or Cartesian space. So anyways, right now I can feel the bed warming up, as we mentioned before. We're still going through that process. Underneath, and as the bed rises after it warms up, we'll see that there's should be 3 adjustment screws on this. Now, the idea behind this is to A, get this bed as level as possible, and then B, once it's roughly as level as possible, the bed is actually tammed. In other words, the difference, the pitch and yaw, so you have yaw, which is in this direction, and you have pitch, which is in this direction. The computer, or basically the equivalent of the Arduino in this thing, will understand what that pitch and yaw is, and will offset your G code by that, giving a better build. Now, the piece is, you do want this to be as level as possible. And again, on my Da Vinci Duo, it's about 20 units. I'm not sure exactly what a unit, if it's a thousandth of an inch or something. It can be off. I don't think it's probably that much, but it's like 20 units. So anyways, what'll happen is this bed will rise, it'll do the touch off, and then on the screen it will tell you each one of the 3 points, how far it's off. And if they're within 20, it can self-tam it, and if it's not, then you have to adjust it. Now, I do recommend trying to get this as close as possible, so it's as level as possible for it. So we'll get there in a second, but it's still heating up. So the extruder's reached 212, and the bed is at about 61. So in a minute or two, it should move. So anyways, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause right now for this to finish heating up. Once it finishes heating up, then we'll go back and take a look at what our results are. Okay, so after about 3 to 5 minutes of waiting, everything's warmed up and the bed's now rising up. Now, one of the things that I was mentioning before, so there are 3 touch points. So this one, you kind of watch it, the bed's hot. So the 1, 2, 3, as I mentioned, although there are 4 pads, these 3 are the touch point pads. The other thing that you want to do is And since this is a brand new printer, I'm not worrying about it. But if you've used it, you want to have cleaned the printhead, because you see there's pushing some plastic out of it now into the cup, but it'll clean itself off, or it's not pushing it out actually, it's just wiggling because it's down in the cup. But it'll clean itself off on this and do the touch offs. So I think it's sort of visible. So I'll move the camera a little bit, make sure we can kind of see what's happening. So you can see it cleaning the printhead, as I mentioned. Now, while we're doing this, the instructions say basically each full turn leads to a change of 50 to the value shown. And so it appears turning to the right is a minus and turning to the left is a positive change in the value. So let's again let it do the touch off, and then we'll take a look and see. So again, notice the little nipple on the side of this. So that's really what you need to make sure is clean, and that's what it's just touching and completing the electrical circuit, if you will, between the ground. So it's moving moving back, so its calibration is in progress. And okay, so it's bringing the bed back up and down again to its stop position. Actually, since I was looking at the paper and talking to you, I wasn't paying attention to how many points it did. So again, you can see it clean. That's one of the nice features I think about the Da Vinci, is that cleaning the headpiece. All right, so exactly as I thought would happen, or had hoped would happen, is it failed. So let's go take a look at this. So here's the failure. So we can see 326, 311. So these are pretty close. And then we see this 200. So the 200 is our problem. So if we look at the instructions that come with it, basically 200, this one, we've got to get this much closer to these threes. So either these two have to come down, or this has to come up. Actually, what I'm thinking about doing, and I want to think about this a second. So this is actually 1, 2, and 3 from the points. So this is the far back one, and this is the one to the, as you're looking to at the front right, and then 3 is this far left corner, the left corner that way. So I want to take a look here. So we'll go down and take a look at the adjustments. To see which one we'll do. So I'm gonna take the camera and go down to the bottom of the bed. So you're looking up on the bottom of the bed now, and so you can see me adjust the screws. Okay, so hopefully you can see the bottom of the bed. So we have the center screw here, which is C. Then we have, I believe this one is back here is A, and then this one is B, because I believe it's looking down from on top. And again, our measurement points are in the front here, 3, 2, with 1 being in the back. So you remember we were about 100 off. So that, so we were at basically 300, 300, 200. So we need to get those closer. So what I've decided to do is to go down on the 300s to try to get them closer to the 200s rather than trying to bring the 200 up. So basically we know that one back here, and actually if I look at it, I can see it's kind of out of a little bit of level, is a little bit high. So what I'm going to do is, so it's 50 units per turn, so 2 turns would be 100, so that would be, bring it down to roughly about 200. So I'm going to, and the hard part is to measure how much is really a turn. So I'm going to have to guesstimate this a little bit, saying, because I'm going to put my finger on the front of it, and I'm not sure you can quite see this, and then I'm going to say that each complete revolution from front to back is approximately 50%. So if I do 4 of these, I should get 2 complete turns. So remember, according to the paper, as you're facing it, right is down negative, left is positive. So let's give it a try. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a little bit tight, so it took a little bit to do that. So now the other one, the second one, which was this front one, which was off by also another 100, will have to be adjusted by this, which will also affect this. So now this is where it gets into a little bit of art and science. So basically I'm only going to go -2, in other words, 1 complete revolution on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start my thumb on this side, rotate it to the right, which is supposed to be a negative, and then I'm going to do this roughly twice, and that should give me almost 1 complete turn. So I'm going to go 1, 2, so that should give me 100 units. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back, and I'm going to have to go through this whole recalibrate thing again. Now this is sort of the pain of this whole process, is now you have to wait for this unit to heat up again and do all that stuff, and so I would suggest you give yourself about an hour to do this process. And again, when you get it out of the box, this should be one of the first things you do is calibrate this bed, or else I'm telling you, just have no end of grief. I did not know to do this when I first got my Duo, but I quickly learned, after spending some time on some internet forums, this was critical. Okay, we're back. So we've started it's heated back up, and it's running its next calibration process. So we'll see where we come up with. Now, this is a little bit of trial and error. I understand on the Pros that they've changed it a little bit, both in firmware and the knobs, where the knobs give you a definitive amount. In other words, you can tell what's a full turn, what's a quarter turn, etc. And basically the firmware now tells you explicitly turn it a quarter turn, turn it a half turn, which is probably a good thing. But again, you can do some simple math. If you know that it's off by 300 or it's off by 100, I should say, like in our case, the 300 versus 200, then it's basically 2 turns, and so you can just, not that big of a difference. I also don't see why they couldn't do a very similar thing in this. And I imagine if you wanted to get particular, one of the things you could actually do is probably take a Sharpie, and what I might do is mark it. The ones on the side are a little bit hard to see. I guess if you got down there you could do it. But again, maybe a tip is mark these with a Sharpie and you can see how much turn. Maybe another point is even mark it, take 2 Sharpies, a red and a black, and mark it at 180 degrees from one another, the red and the black, and do that. Oh, okay, so we're back now. Let's see if I can get you a view of because I had to lower the tripod a little bit. Let me see if I can get you a view of the screen. So here we are. We still failed because we're still too far out. However, you notice we got a whole lot closer because we were in the low 3s and 200. So you see the 200's now dropped down to 187, and this one has dropped from, I think, 314 or 3 something to 223. So I want to go back and double check, and so this again is 1, 2, and 3. And so if I look at the correlation is 1 is the back left side of the printer, back left, and so that's at 251. So this is what I'm going to try to sort of target, is the 2. Well, let me see, if thinking about it, I actually might try to come down on the 251. This is where it takes a little bit of thinking, because yeah, I'm going to try this, because I'm going to go to the back screw, and I'm going to take off one full turn, because just looking here, so this is one. I just want to double check. Sorry, I lied. One is the back corner on the right. So I am going to try where 2 and 3 are the two front pins. So again, I just want to reconfirm. 1 is on the right back, and so since that's got a dedicated knob, what I'm going to try doing is taking that down by one. Actually, since this is at 223, I'm going to try taking this down by one full turn would bring it to 200. So I'm going to take it down by a half a turn. So this means I'm going to have to go if I was facing it to the right, 1/2 a turn. So let's go look at that. Alright, so we're back inside the printer. Let's see, turn the light back on. This is the one thing I don't like about the Da Vinci. I wish there was some way just to tell it to leave the lights on and not turn them off. So I'm going to go to this back one, and I'm going to make 1/2 a turn on this. So remember, I'm going to put my finger, if you're looking at this one, I'm going to start my finger here, and I'm going to ratchet one complete turn this way to bring it down by what should be about 25 units. So this is a little bit tough, so I'm going to do that. Alright, so now I'm going to go back and I'm going to calibrate again. So I'm going to have another 5-minute wait for this thing to heat up. If you do it pretty quick, it gets a little bit shorter. It does it about 3 minutes because it starts off at a higher temperature. For example, my bed's still at about 70, in my hot end about 91, but it does cool down very fast. So again, I suggest giving yourself about an hour for this process. So again, and while I'm waiting for this to warm up and stop, pausing the camera and then coming back, I'm doing other things in the shop. So again, that's what I sort of recommend, is doing it that way. So once it heats up, we'll watch it calibrate again. Okay, the printer's heated up. We're back for another run. So let's see how this does as it cleans the head. We'll watch it do its touch-offs, and hopefully we'll be pretty close. Now, I'm already guessing I'm going to probably have to do at least one more time for this one, because I was at 187, and I think I'm going to have to bring this one back into a positive range a little bit. I didn't move it when I did it. I just indicated I was going to have to go in that direction to bring that one back up closer to 200. But remember, when you turn this one, you're actually affecting both of these points, because this single pin controls the tamming between this point and this point. So there's 2 on the back and then 1 on the front. Now, there's a bit of conjecture on the internet. A lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot, some claim the 4 is better. I think the 3 is actually better for quicker tamming and calibration than the 4, especially if it's quality made, where these two are tied together in yaw. Because it just makes it easier. Because when you try doing the 4 points, I've had a 2-up where you had to do the 4 points, and each point affects its neighbor, and it just becomes a never-ending circle of trying to get that thing adjusted, so you can spend quite a bit of time. So, as I anticipated, we did fail again. I'm going to just, instead of stopping the camera, just bring it up here so maybe you can see this. But we're a whole lot closer, because notice that we're now at 96 and 198. So basically this one, 225, is the one that's out of the money. And so this is number 1. So again, this is that it's on the right side as you're facing the printer, and in the back. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to take that down a little short of half a turn on the back. So I'm basically just going to go back in where I was before and go about. I'm going to go a half a turn. That might be a little bit aggressive, and then I'm going to try doing this and trying to calibrate. Are you sure? Yes. And hopefully I've caught it fast enough. You can kind of see the temperature. It's still pretty close, so hopefully I won't have that much of a heat up time. And then hopefully this time will be the charm. So as it heats up. So again, we'll go back, do something, let it run its thing, and we'll come back and hopefully watch it again run through the paces. Okay, so it's was pretty quick, so it's doing its thing again. So we've seen it, I think, 2 more times. So I just double checked the instructions, and as in with my Duo next to it, it's got to be plus or minus 20 of each other for the tamming to work and to consider itself calibrated. So I think this run, if my guesstimates are correct, should put pretty close. Now there are a number of other possibilities. So one of the things that I had for my 2-up, which I sold on eBay, is I had this gauge which went on there because it really didn't have a calibration mechanism that did it. And there are ones for the Da Vinci too that go on the rails. And I actually might print out, well, I actually did build one for my Duo. I dropped stuff. And here it actually is. So basically you can tell it kind of got a little bit deformed on the thing because it's such a big print, but it worked anyway. And what happens is the gauge replaces, instead of on this blue one, it goes like that and then clips on those rails. So again, I might use that to print out one of the other ones. But anyways, good news. This time around, as predicted, and what I want to do is kind of move this up so you can see it. Sorry about if there's any vertigo with the camera movement. So, anyways, you can see 204, 194, 200. This is actually pretty darn good. You know, we're within 4 between these two, and we're basically 6 out from here and 10 out from there. So we're less than half of its tolerance of plus or minus 20. So now it's calibrated. Now we can go ahead and use the printer with confidence that we have our bed calibrated. How often should you do this? You know, it really depends. If you move the printer, you know, and I'm not talking about just, you know, move it on the desk a little bit, but if you move it from point A to point B, I would definitely suggest doing it. I would maybe suggest running this through about once a month. If you use it quite a bit, I would do it about once a month, because how does this get out of level? Well, when you're wrestling the prints off the bed, you know, with the spatula, you know, I use spatula. You're wrestling it off the bed, you're jarring it, you're moving the bed, and over time it will become out of line. Also, heating and cooling it will bring it out of line again. It should be a lot closer. Again, this was a brand new printer, just got it, so you know, I'm sure it was not calibrated at all at the factory, so it was quite a bit off. So anyways, it worked very well. So hopefully this helped you. One other thing I do want to show, I'm going to drop the camera back down just so I have a little bit more area. In the printed instructions, which comes in the Da Vinci box, you'll see it's got a complete thing on this, and it also indicates you know, what numbers you're looking at, and all the stuff I was sharing on the video and kind of showing you how to go through and do. The elapsed time on this was about 45 minutes in the real world. So anyways, hopefully this helped you get working with your Da Vinci printer and enjoy it, because again, I cannot stress, you really need to do this first thing when you get the printer, or else you'll be disappointed, because it will let you print, and I guarantee you your prints will come out crappy, you'll fight with it. I did, because actually this piece of crap came out this way because of it, and that's why I printed it out, is I had gotten frustrated with it, and I didn't realize what calibration was. I figured, you know, okay, it's calibrated, right? But wrong answer. So anyways, that's why. Once I got it calibrated, didn't have this problem anymore. And you can see with this one, as I printed out, I mean, this is really, really a nice print. And this was done on my Duo. And so, anyways, very critical piece to this is getting it calibrated. So anyways, give it a thumbs up. I hope this helped you. You know, maybe you got one of these as a holiday present from somebody else. Maybe you bought it. Again, this is just a really great printer for those who just want to get in, print something. We're going to be doing a lot of prints with this. I got it. I want to start my practical 3D printing series with it, and so watch for that. And again, give it a thumbs up if this helped you. Subscribe to the channel. A lot more stuff coming on both 3D printing, or well, I should say both, on 3D printing, laser cutting. I've got 2 laser cutters on CNCing. So if you're interested in home fabrication or expanding into home fabrication or small-scale fabrication for a shop or business, this is the channel for you, because again, coming into 2016, I'm going to start talking about a lot more of those things. You know, how can you potentially commercialize some of this stuff? How can you get workflows together to do small runs of this? How can you use this in your home to save money, to improve you know, your standard of living per se? That might be a little bit of a reach, but I'll make it. What the heck. So, see you in the next video. Cheers.